Hello and welcome to Veggie Patch Ideas and welcome to the August Polytunnel. It's full, it's vibrant and it's packed full of vegetables. I'm in my element in here. Let's take a look around. So first of all, we've got our beautiful cherry tomatoes and these have just been giving and giving and giving. They are coming to an end, but you'll notice the leaves are a bit yellow. I haven't put any tomato feed on these for at least a month. They finished flowering, so they're not going to produce any more fruit. It's just a case of leaving them on, letting them ripen and picking as we go. Now moving on to the tomatoes, we have an absolute shed load and I've been harvesting these like crazy. But there's only a certain amount of tomatoes you can actually eat. The money maker over here and the gardener's delight, they're all coming on. But my favourite are the super steak, which are these massive, heavy, red full beef tomatoes. These are amazing and they taste absolutely fantastic. Now when it comes to getting the best flavour out of your tomatoes, now everyone does this differently, but only remove the leaves up until the first fruits. Anything over the first fruits, I'll leave the leaves on. And this was a trick from a guy that had been growing tomatoes for pretty much all his life commercially. So, organic. He'd leave all the leaves on after the first truss and the bases will be bare and then the leaves are on full. I tend to tidy mine up a little bit, but what he says, it just improves the flavour of that tomato. And so far this year I've done his technique and my tomatoes have tasted amazing and not really much in the way of unripened tomatoes with too much leaves. So I'm going to continue doing it this way. And if you do it a different way and you get better results, let me know, pop it in the comments and we'll see how you guys get on. We always want to know and learn from each other. Now moving on, let's talk cucumbers. Now when it comes to cucumbers, we've got two main events. We've got the small ones here and these grow into monsters. And I'm guilty of not harvesting. These are on far too long, so they're no good to me. They can come off. But I've got another variety, the same as what we get in our supermarkets. And these are just producing far too many. I've got cucumbers actually all over the place and every day's a winner with the cucumber polytunnel harvest. Now moving on to the lower part of the polytunnel, I've got our chili peppers and these are going well. And if I'll just harvest one, they're not too shabby and we have an absolute ton of these. Behind the chili peppers, easy, we have our aubergines and these are just setting fruits now. It's a little bit late and they should be doing better, but if it starts fruiting and we have a warm September, then we'll get aubergines. If not, it's pretty much of a disaster. Keep everything crossed for an aubergine harvest this year. In amongst the aubergines on the other side of the polytunnel, we've got a beautiful melon and these are all over the place. I've got 4 melons that I can see and there's more because this melon just keeps on going and going, and there are some on the other side. This needs a little bit more time and then hopefully we can enjoy a beautiful melon. Now let's take a look at the very unloved chili house, and it's all going on in here. Now as you can see, we have chilies of all types and varieties in here. And they are just going and going. And I'll let these dry out. So I'll water these every 2 days. And at a minute, as you can see, the leaves they've drooped because they're very dry and they need a good watering. And this is just a way I keep them. I treat them mean and they give me beautiful chilies in return. So don't overwater your chilies and they will look after you. It's a great harvest this year of chilies. However, if we move down and we look down to see, what a disaster the bell peppers have been. The bindweed have completely took over, and it's my fault. I haven't had time to sort it out yet. But we have some little bell peppers coming on. So we will get fruit, but not a lot. And this is a job I need to do this afternoon. While we're outside, we may as well take a look around the plot and see what's going on, because this is the dregs of August, and we've got some things that have gone over and some things that have started. So let's take a look around. So straight away we can look at the pumpkin bed, and this is coming on leaps and bounds, and it's all going in the right direction. There are loads on there, and if we can see, our first pumpkin has started. So we're on to a winner with our pumpkins already. However, moving on to the dwarf French beans I put in 10 of these, and 2 have survived, and the rest have just been slug bait. So it's a win for pumpkins and a loss for dwarf beans. And then you can see we have some empty beds here. So we've got an empty bed, and this will be direct sown with probably beetroot soon. Moving on into the covers, and I'll take these off. But if we take a look at the middle bed, we've got our onions, and these are doing really well. And these were all sown from seed. That's how we want them. And then our carrots, look how these are going on now. Absolutely filled this low tunnel. And these are doing wonders. And these, if you can remember, these were sown as plug plants and then popped in to avoid any disappointment in germination. And then moving down the row, we've got our leeks, and these are in very good health. No problems with these whatsoever, and these were sown really, really late. And of course it's that time of year, and the raspberries are coming through beautifully now, and I have raspberries all over this plot. So moving on to the kale bed, and the kale is going perfectly well. However, the cabbage, the spring cabbage I had at the side of it, has been completely and utterly mullered. But by leaving these in, the slugs and snails, they're not attacking the kale. So I've kind of hedging my bets. I don't mind the cabbage getting beat up. It's already well past edible now. So I'll leave them in, and I'll just let my kale grow on perfectly happy. And this Black Nero kale, I keep saying it, it's indestructible, and it's a one everyone should be growing. Now moving on to the Brussels sprouts. Now these are coming on nicely. We've got some bigger than others, but they're in the right sort of place, and they've not been attacked just yet. So we're on high alert for slugs, but there are a few that are going very, very well. And then moving out to the other side of the allotment, we have our sweet corn, and this is just starting to ripe up now, and it's not been knocked over by the wind, so we've got away with that. But the cobs, they are coming through, and so far they haven't been attacked. So it's good news for the sweet corn. And then next to them, we have our leeks that I planted just a bit longer ago than the other leeks. And these, they've started to go with a little bit of rust, but it's not a problem just yet. However, the problem is some of the leeks have gone to seed. Now this is not good, and it's simply because it's been very, very wet, and then it's been very, very hot, and then it's been very, very wet again, and they don't know where they are. It's just unpredictability, and they're thinking it's time to go to seed, and it's not what I wanted. So at least I've got some leeks that will perform. And then we have our French beans, and these have just started getting going. They'll climb up this frame, and they'll give me that late crop. You remember we planted these late, so these will give me the late harvest of French beans. And what a harvest this will be. Now moving down to the bottom, this is the strawberry bed, and this half is what was in the polytunnel early on this year, from February, March. And then the ones to this side, these have had a year's rest, and they've shot side shoots out which will give us new plants, and the new plants we're going to use in the polytunnel next year. So it's all looking good, and it's where I want to be. And in the very foreground we have our beautiful rhubarb, which has finally recovered. As always guys, thanks for watching, and if you're into solar sheds or you want to charge your phone up from your shed, you'll love what's coming next.